What's going on, everyone? James Livingston here, back again with another video going over the market, the ETFs, SPY, QQQ, IWM as a whole, trying to do some market analysis for you guys here each and every day. Today, big day, we do have CPI, we have the core inflation data coming out at about 8:30 this morning, so in about an hour my time. As of right now, looking at the charts, everything is kind of shaping up to what we've been expecting. Yesterday, we did see that dip down, that pullback off of the hangman style candle from Monday. We saw that pullback. Now on the hourly, if you go down in time frames, we can see that we made that low and then it did get eaten up pretty quickly. Did retrace back down to the levels we were talking about, 595, just about 595 on the dot, all the way up to about 595.50. That zone, this is just from yesterday's recording, pre-drawn out, so you can see the levels have held up really well. With CPI data, this is one of those situations where I've seen it, I've seen it go both ways, where CPI data can sometimes add some chop to the market, maybe push it back up to this previous zone here that we just broke down through yesterday, retest it before continuing either down lower or chopping some more. I tend to see more of the market movements on PPI day, the wholesale end of it. So that would be my expectation for today, is that we could potentially see a little pop up in the morning up to this area, the 597s, 597.50-ish, and then potentially a pullback down. Now, again, this is just based on previous movements by CPI, not anticipating that that's 100% what's going to happen, but just from previous times, I've always seen that CPI doesn't necessarily move the market, but PPI does. So just something to be aware of there. Obviously, if we're just looking for strictly technical levels right now, keeping in mind that there is a good chance of chop action here today because everyone's anticipating a big move. So the market likes to chop people up around that time. I would say right now 597.30 would be your level to break for actual upside movement up to the 598.30 area, and so on and so forth. As far as downside, probably looking at this pre-market low here at about 595.15 or 595.25. 595.15 was actually the level that we needed to break last week for FOMC when J Powell was talking and everything. So I personally would use the 595.15 level as your breakdown. But again, just be careful, as we don't really have much room to the downside there with the 594.30 low of yesterday. The downside move is kind of slim, got about 50 to 70 cents there that you might be able to catch, but outside of that, I don't necessarily see it going down further yet. I think we'll have to wait to see what PPI looks like to see a more clear direction, more clear move. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on SPY right now. Everything as of right now on the daily is shaping up to see, lower. We did close beneath Monday's low with yesterday's closing, so very bearish signal to me to potentially see some more downside. Do have a little bit higher of a wick on yesterday's candle from the low side up, but again, I think we just have more room at this moment to push down before we go back up. So that's just my plan there for SPY. Going over to QQQ. Again, very similar price action. I'm going to get rid of this drawing here for the rising wedge that already played out, so we don't need to necessarily focus on that anymore. But what we are seeing is some more chop action. I had 514.15 marked off as a level for yesterday. You can see we did break above it briefly, but couldn't really get much of a move off of it, about 50 cents off of that 514.15 break before it did push back down and take out the lows. So definitely, looking at more downside at the moment on this. But again, similar situation to SPY, where I do believe we could see some chop action, heading into today with CPI. As of right now, if I go down the 15-minute just to find some levels, I would say your level for the upside right now is about 513.60. We get rid of this 514.15. 513.60 right there. I think a break above that can take us back up to those mid 514s, possibly back up to these highs up here around 515 to 516. As far as downside, we had that 511 marked out on our charts from Monday's low. I do believe that Monday's low is probably still the level we're looking to break do go down lower, you can get a nice move off 511 break down to the low of day from yesterday. So I would expect 511 to be your kind of downside level at the moment. Again, PPI data I think is going to be a little bit more important. So this day here, not today necessarily. So just something I'm keeping an eye on right there. So get rid of some of these drawings here on IWM. IWM is looking pretty, I mean, it was looking really bullish. We had a nice push up Monday. Tuesday, though, we did have a little bit of a correction. Now, off of this pattern that we were looking at, this is a nice retracement to the previous resistance now to try and turn into a support. The only thing now is we dipped down a little further than I thought we would. So I would say that as we get back up into this 239 area, we could anticipate a rejection again at the previous resistance. If we can't turn it into a support, it will still act as a resistance there. So looking at that for ultimately the break to the upside. So I'm going to mark off 539. I really don't like anything else for upside movement on this until then. You could potentially scalp a push off the 237.90, 237.75 area. But as far as ultimately pushing the trend back up, we do need to reclaim 239. Now, as far as downside, you're looking at an equal low or just about equal low from the low of day to pre-market low right now at 236.60, just about. I think the breakdown of that will give us some more downside, probably down into this area right in here where we have this 200 EMA kind of looming on the 30-minute. So down into the 235 to 235.70 area, could potentially see a nice little breakdown there. But again, I'm expecting a little bit more choppiness today after a couple bigger moves early on in the week. I think we'll need a day to kind of reset, see PPI data come out tomorrow, and then reassess from there. So that's what I'm looking at on the ETFs. As far as for Tesla, checking out Tesla here, we did identify on Tesla yesterday that we had this kind of zone that we pushed down overnight into, came up, re-tapped on into it at about 345 to 347 area. You can see right at market open, tried to push that area and then got rejected down into the 324s, which again, we did kind of anticipate that would happen if you watched yesterday's video. Now we're seeing a little bit more of an overnight gap up on Tesla, seeing it starting to hold above this kind of intraday peak that we had toward the end of the day yesterday. Stair stepping, creating levels, level to level trading. That's what we're looking for here. So something I'm watching for today is to push up and retest into those lower 340s. Again, 345 to 347. If we can break above that area, we have a lot of room up in here into the high 350s. So something I'm watching there. Downside, could use the low of day there from yesterday, 323.60, or you could use this 321, 322 area, kind of the pre-market or after hour low we had. That would probably be your better bet, is to use 322. But if 322 loses, there's a good chance that we go back into those teens. Again, on Tesla, I'm still bullish on Tesla long term until we break back below 300. I think 300 is going to be that level that we're going to have to go retest at some point. So I'm going to mark that off here. It could be today, could be tomorrow, could be Friday, but I do think 300 could potentially get touched this week if the trend continues down. So that is levels on Tesla. Downside 322, upside right now, upside I would say you're looking at about 339.40. 339.40 should be able to get you up to about 345. Again, just level to level trading right now. So that is Tesla. I'm going to go ahead and look at NVIDIA real quick as well. So NVIDIA showing a little bit more strength today, yesterday than it did on Monday. Monday had a little bit more of a meltdown. Yesterday did get a little bit more of a push up back into the range it was in. So far, still holding that 150 level as a resistance. Got 149.60, 149.70 as the high of day from yesterday. That ultimately is the level to break above, and I think if we break that 149.60, there's a good chance we rip right through 150, probably up to the 152.5s. So that's kind of my ideology with that push, if we can get it. As far as downside, I would say downside on NVIDIA right now, I'd be looking at that looks like about 146.90. Just about. So just a break under 147 seems like it can give us a little bit more leeway to 145, and maybe as low as 144. But as of right now, the other thing I'm kind of watching here on NVIDIA is we might be forming somewhat of an inverse head and shoulders. So you can see here we're kind of already getting that shoulder formation head. We have another shoulder here kind of forming. Even if it pulled down to the 147 area, I think there's still a good chance we can push right back up. So if the move doesn't happen today, if we don't get a move out of NVIDIA today, I think there's a good chance that on PPI data we could still see that style of a move. So, but that's gonna be all I got for today, guys. CPI data obviously coming out, so just be careful. Make sure that we're sizing down a little bit more, protecting your capital. And then obviously, if you're new to the channel, please leave a like for my crazy hair. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, what you'd like to see moving forward. Like I said in the last video, I got a couple suggestions for some videos soon, so I'm going to get those rolling out for you. And if you're new to the channel, of course, hit that subscribe button. And one last thing, Alpha community, or anyone who's looking for a community, we have the Alpha Stocks Lab. That is the community I'm a part of. We are running a 15% off sale right now, moving into Thanksgiving. I believe the code, if I'm correct, is THANKS24. So definitely check that out. Click the link in my description. If you don't have a community to be a part of, it really helps with accountability, helps with discipline, and just, you know, overall, obviously finding some plays to look into. So, you know, look into that. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.